Hey guys, it's Em. Wanted to do something simple and sweet. I know I've been on the Outlast train for a while. My review still hasn't come out. I'm sorry. My fault. Anyway, I wanted to rank the enemies from highest to lowest threat in Outlast Trials. And I have to say this because, like I mentioned before, the last time I did a tier list and I didn't show my credentials or mention them, someone was like, I'm sorry, I can't listen to you. You clearly don't play the game. I've played Psychosurgery. I normally play on intensive. I've relapsed. I rebirthed 10 times before they even brought back rebirth. I was here when Franco initially came out. I've played the game for a while and I got quite a few hours in it. Now that that's out of the way, when I'm talking about these enemies, I'm going to be talking about them from the lens of intensive and psychosurgery, which means you probably just don't want to get hit by these guys at all. Just wanted to get that out of the way too, because I feel on standard and in baby mode, what is the other, introductory, all these guys would kind of be a non-issue. First is Gooseberry. Interesting. Now the thing is with Gooseberry is on higher difficulties, she does a lot of damage. And don't get me wrong, that is crazy. But physically, she's not the most threatening character. Locks slow her down quite a bit. She's not very strong. She's not extremely fast. So I don't really know where else to put her. Like, if she catches you, yeah, it's crazy damage. But if not, no. Coyle, I would say Coyle is probably the weakest prime asset in my opinion. He just doesn't have any trait that makes me go, oh, okay. He's a little stronger than Gooseberry. I believe he breaks lock doors a little bit faster than she does. But his ability of hitting you and cutting off your rig really isn't that big of an issue. Damage wise, I think he's pretty average, all things considered. He's kind of there. I really don't know what else to say about him. He's all right. It's just the thing is, it's really easy to avoid him because him and Gooseberry, you run away unless they catch you off guard or cut you off somewhere. They shouldn't really be able to catch you like that. And the punishment of he cuts your rig off for a little bit, unless you play really rig dependent, that shouldn't matter that much. Like, that's not a run ending effect or anything. Bleed is way more threatening than Coyle's effect. I don't want to put him in D, but he's very close. Like, he would probably be in C- for me. He's just not really that much of an issue. Franco, here we go. Here we go, Franco. If you play the game on standard and introductory, he is not that bad. Once you go up, oh my god, bro. It's the gun. Like, he'll hear something, he'll flinch and he'll pop you, and he might do no damage or he might do all of the damage. I don't really know what else to say about it. He's a ranged character. He's instantly more threatening than 90% of the cast because he has a gun. And there's a good chance he will shoot you by accident. You might step on some glass and then he immediately goes, whoop! Depending on where you are, you might have just lost like half health. And then running from him is hard because he gets 2 shots. So he might shoot you once and then you try to duck behind something and he pops off the other shot. It is very hard to avoid getting blasted by him. He tends to only really shoot when he sees you, when he can get a very chunky bit of your health off. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that Franco is the highest tier threat in the game, at least out of the prime assets for sure. Maybe in general, I don't know. I remember one time I went on the Reddit and people were going, this character needs to be nerfed. Get that gun out of here. So I don't think I'm alone in that. I don't think he's busted like people or some people have said he is, but he's definitely one of the more annoying characters once you go higher up. This is the Screamer. The thing is with the Screamer is he's not really that much of a threat, but it's what he can enable that's scary because you can't run when you're holding your ears, and that can really fuck with you. I honestly think, because some people would go, well, if you make noise, he'll scream and that'll attract the other characters. I don't really mind that part. It's when you're running, you happen to run past one, he screams, you get slowed down, and then the person hits you. That's when it's a problem. That's when I would say this is a super annoying character. And on higher difficulties, them hitting you is grim. Anyone who plays Psychosurgery will tell you getting hit is like one of the biggest setbacks because you are one shot from anything if you get hit once on that difficulty. So I don't know. I'll put him in C because I don't feel like that scenario happens that often. It's just when it does, it feels really bad. So I'll leave him there. is Pusher. Okay, now here's the thing. I think Skinner Man is very scary. He puts you in psychosis, and psychosis is very bad. Like I always say every single video so far. Psychosis, before, it was super easy. You would get psychosis and no one would attack you when you were in psychosis. So you'd run around, get your shit done, and it was kind of an exploit. Now I think psychosis is the most dangerous it's ever been because the enemies don't really ignore you like that. They will still hit you. So it's the fact that he gives psychosis. Like, that's really strong. But he's not that strong. He's not really that fast. He doesn't have a ranged power. I don't think much of this guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like Skinner Man, Gas Man, Pusher. I think Pusher is just pretty alright. Like, he's kind of standard. Goggles, kind of the same thing. Like, the gimmick of he can see you in the dark is really scary when you just start playing because no one else can really do that. But he has no other good traits. He's pretty weak. If you walk into the light, he gets slowed down in like an insane amount. He's probably not catching you when he steps out in light. The main threat that he serves is if he sees you and then you have to run and then someone else sees you, like someone more threatening, like maybe a Franco or a Gooseberry. But I don't know. I just don't think he's that bad. I think when you get more accustomed to the game, his threat level kind of just drops more and more. Yeah, I'll leave him there. He has a strength, but he has a lot of weaknesses. The blind giant, kind of like glasses, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm really making it sound like I'm like the best gamer known to man. Again, he's kind of like goggles, but in reverse. Like if you're running from someone and you run into him, then it's a problem, and it's kind of annoying to lose him once he starts chasing you. The only thing is a lot of the areas that he's confined to don't go very far, so it's not that crazy for you to outrun him. He does really hurt if he catches you, but the chances of him catching you are very low. The most annoying thing I would say he does is he might just stand in a doorway you need to go through, and if you don't have a bottle, I feel like I don't need to explain why that's kind of irking. But other than that, real talk, I just don't see him as that much of a problem. Honestly, I kind of want to put him down here. I just never really see him as a threat. What is this, the giants? There's giant and then there's giant woman. I don't know what the difference between these two are. Like, why are they both here? Anyway, I don't know what the difference is between these two. I thought they functioned pretty much the same. They're big, strong, they break doors fast, and they hurt really bad. What else am I supposed to say about them? Now, these guys, I want to say they buff giants. There had to have been some giant buff at some point, because before, I don't ever remember struggling to get away from giants. Now I feel like I turn around and they're breathing the same air as me. It's crazy. They breathe in my exhales when they start chasing now. But they tend to be in annoying spots, but them themselves, I don't know. It's like they are pretty threatening. I don't know if I want to put them in B though. I don't know. It's like if you lock the doors, they break them really fast, which is, I feel like on like psychosurgery, I don't tend to get to lock doors like that often. And I don't know. I don't think that they're that bad until they hit you. But the thing is, the game tends to put them in a lot of super annoying camp spots. Like, even if we go to the first mission, kill the snitch, a lot of the giants tend to be in the worst spots ever. You'll be sitting there trying to move the thing, and then a giant will just stand where you need to push the snitch. It's very annoying, and there's a lot of missions where they just happen to be placed like that. And given their big damage output, that is very annoying. So I'm gonna put them in C. I don't know. A part of me is telling me to put them in B, but yeah. Also, if there's some difference between these two, I'm not aware of it, so I can't really comment on any differences there. These are the normal fodder guys. These are kind of just in the game. I really like they're kind of like the no, they're way less than the giants. Let me be real. They have no special traits. They're not very strong. They're not very fast either. They're kind of the lowest threats in the game for me. No. There's one that's coming up that I think is the lowest tier threat in the game, but it does what it does. Skinner Man is an S. I think Skinner Man is probably the worst. Because the thing is, you can't avoid him. You cannot step on gas traps, sure. You cannot get grabbed by Pusher, sure. But the second he comes out, the game gets instantly worse. And I don't mean that as in the game sucks. I mean, it is very easy to get psychoed and then immediately snowball into dying. So, I have to put him in S. Like, he's just genuinely one of the most intimidating forces in the game. You can't avoid it. I'm not not saying it's impossible to avoid it, but damn, and it gets so much harder to deal with when you go higher. Psychosurgery, you step on a trap, it is instant insanity, which is crazy. And on intensive, it leaves you with 1 bar, which is also crazy. And then if we're counting the tentacles as part of Skinner Man, that shit is nuts. Those tentacles are actually super annoying. Even when you're not fully in psychosis and he can't chase you, those tentacles can just stay in the way of some routes you need to go, and it is super irking. So yeah, I'm gonna say he's a highest tier threat. Pitcher, that's what this guy's name is. I'm not gonna fake. The second we started this, I was trying to imagine what this dude's name was. I don't think he's that bad. Yeah, I guess you could argue he can flick you like Franco does, but Franco's is quicker. I don't know. The fact that he has range really never bothered me. The fire thing isn't really that intimidating. I just don't think he's that strong, personally. Anytime he's throwing a Molotov, unless you're standing still, it doesn't tend to nick you like that. So yeah, like, he's a character in the game. I think audio-wise, he's done amazingly, but he's not that big of a threat to me ever. I feel like every time he's seen me, he's thrown the Molotov and missed. Or if he does manage to nick me, I don't take that much damage. So I'm gonna leave him there. I just don't think he's that bad. The Imposter, this is very difficulty dependent, because on introductory and standard, this is like a non-issue. You shouldn't really be getting caught by mimics on anything below intensive. I'm not gonna lie to you. But on intensive and psychosurgery, the mimics don't really have a name thing above their head, so that makes it a lot harder to tell, especially in tense moments. But the mimics just don't act right. Like, they don't act like players do most of the time, but that got updated. That's really what's throwing me, is I haven't really seen all of what the mimics can do. I know they can offer you items, and I know they can ping, and that's pretty scary. But avoiding them, I feel, is way too easy. The second they go, and they pull out the knife, all you have to do is jump back and they lose the attack and they leave. I guess they hurt a bit when you go higher on difficulty, but I don't really see them as that much of an issue, to be honest. The thing that isn't helping my opinion is usually I'm playing solo unless someone asks me to play with them, so you don't even really get to see these guys, you know? I feel most experienced players are not going to have a problem with these guys. The only time I imagine they would be is in really tense circumstances, like, oh hey, close vocal range. Oh, I can't shout to this guy to say, are you actually you right now? You know, like situations like that. The Crest Twins, there's been a fair amount of debate about the Crest Twins, and I think it's a little crazy. The Crest Twins really feel like snowball characters. I really don't know how else to frame it, because I would say Otto, who is the guy, is not that intimidating. He is very slow. I don't think he's ever caught me by himself once. Now, Aurora is kind of a problem because nausea is a very annoying effect. I don't think it's broken. I don't know if people think it's broken or not. I've heard people complain about them too. People complain a lot. But I don't think Aurora is... it's if she gets you. If she gets you with one of those, like, random flick nausea bottles she throws, and you have to throw up, it is very realistic to think that Otto is going to catch you and get a hit off for free. Or if not her, or not him, or them, someone else. If you've been doing the weekly or the monthly or whatever this event is, where they just came out, the Crest Twins modifier, you can get hit by the nausea effect, and then Franco or someone just shoots you, and that will annihilate you. It is very annoying when something like that happens. Also, Aurora's nausea bottles can go through walls. There was a time that I startled her, and I had the door locked, and she threw it, and I still had to throw up anyway, which gave him free time to break down the door. The thing is, Otto isn't that strong, which is really weird. Like, when it comes to door strength, it takes him quite a while to get through the door, despite the fact that he has like a saw axe, which I think is odd. But I don't know. I don't think they're that powerful. I really don't. I think that if they can catch you in a weird way, they will fuck you up. The fact that they see both ways, you have to handle them differently. You can't handle them like any of the other characters where they'll turn around and then you just walk out of your hiding You walk out of your hiding spot and then you're just A-okay. You have to wait for them to be completely out of range or to the side for you to walk out. But that really just has not played that big of a role in most of my games, honestly. If they're really far away, then I don't really have a problem with them. The only time I would say that they're super scary is if they're close to you, because Aurora's gonna flick you, Otto might get a hit in, someone else could get a hit in, maybe even like Gooseberry could grab you and just completely annihilate your health bar. Those are the scenarios where they're really powerful, but otherwise I think they're really weak. I think they shine in certain scenarios, but otherwise they just don't really have it like that. Then we get on to Jagger. What do I think about Jagger? I think Jagger is an A. I really wanted someone to put in the A slot. I think she has that spot more than anyone, low-key, because the second Jagger hits the field, the game becomes vastly different. And I'm sure that most people who played when she came out could tell you that. Because the thing is, when Jagger's on the field, you can't hide. There's certain scenarios where you're working an objective and you need to hover around the same area, and that is a very bad play when Jagger's out, because Jagger will just kill you. She is very slow. You can't really stun her with anything. The most you'll get is if you hit her in the head, she'll flinch for like 0.2 seconds. She has weaknesses, but her strengths, especially combined with the other characters, can be very, very hard to deal with. It is genuinely insane. Like, let's say kill the snitch. You're pushing the snitch, you have to run away for a second before you come back. You have to make sure she is not taking the path directly from the snitch back to you, because there is a good chance she'll just catch you. If you're in a chase and you're trying to run around an area to do an objective, there's a good chance she can show up, grab you, and then that's it. She's even worse in single player. I don't think a lot of people take this into consideration, because on multiplayer, if you play really close together, she is pretty much a non-factor. But if you're in single player and she catches you, if you don't have evasive maneuver, that is just it. Like, you're not going to be able to get saved. So I think that is actually a very fun and interesting aspect to this, because I imagine if someone was like, yeah, I play with my friends all the time, I'm gonna put her down here because all my friends save each other all the time. I imagine there is some content creator who would put her down here, and I wouldn't really blame you if you play with people a lot to put her down here. But if you play a lot single player, I imagine some people would even put her in S, because she will just throw the game that insanely in a different direction. I still love her though. I still think she is one of the coolest characters they added, but she is very intimidating, and she will just throw off the team comp. And if you aren't playing with a group of really good players, there is a good chance that she will just fuck up everybody. They will be hiding somewhere, they won't fully be paying attention, she'll walk up, she'll grab them, they're dead, she's on to the next person, and it's just rough. So I'm gonna put her in A. I'm looking over this list just to make sure there's no one I'd want to move. The only person I kind of might want to move is Gooseberry, but even then, I don't know. I feel like that's fair. I feel like she has enough weaknesses where that is about the right place to put her. I'm very curious to see what other people think. I think, from what I've seen at least, I don't really complain about Trials. My friends will tell you that every single update of Trials, I've said this is the best update of Trials. I know I sound like such a fucking glazer saying that, but I know there are people who have more complaints than I do. And I'm very, very sure that they will feel differently about some of these characters. I think the game's pretty balanced and pretty fair for the most part. I feel like all these characters have fair weaknesses, and some of these I adjusted to way faster than others. But if you have any different takeaways, as long as you're respectful, I'm glad to hear it. And with that, I've been M, and I am out.